I wanted to thank Trustee Foster, Chancellor Milliken, and our special guest, Margaret Sullivan. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you all for coming, and welcome. And a special thank you to my aunt and uncle who let me live with them. Yeah, they're the only ones who are as happy as I am that this day has finally come. So, I'm going to tell you a tale. It's about a group of people who came from a time which seems many thousands of years ago, but if you count it up, was actually only 16 months. The warriors of our story hailed from all 5 boroughs across the country and the world. From Astoria to Argentina, Boston to Brooklyn, Colorado to Columbia. Some of them were already journalists, some of them were film editors, some taught children or built websites, and some were just coming straight out of college. Our heroes saw what was happening in the world on their Facebook feeds and in their TV screens, in the pages of their newspapers and magazines, from the bombing in Boston to the shooting in Sandy Hook. They felt restless and were wondering, maybe I should be doing more. But they weren't sure if they wanted to leave behind their families, their jobs, or the security of the known. It's too dangerous out there, they were told. There are no jobs. The cost of school is too high. And besides, it's all negative news anyways. You just become a champion of gloom, a bearer of bad tidings. This place will be different, they told their parents. And it's not as expensive as some of those other schools. Won't be mentioned. And the professors here are already leading a big storytelling movement that is upending old ways. Any remaining doubts disappeared when they received one final email from the Obi-Wan Kenobi of the CUNY Graduate School of Journalism. You know who I'm talking about. Steve Doherty. It read, "We think you should come." We will come. When the eager cadets arrived at training camp, some of them had never wielded a boom or crafted a kicker. Some had never heard of an ISO, touched an XLR, or white balanced a JVC, and they certainly couldn't define a jump cut, a final cut, or a cutaway. But they were sent off to far-flung locales in this great metropolis, from the tip of Staten Island to the top of the Bronx. They were told to infiltrate them all. The streets were stratified into a tale of 2 cities, so they marched next to protesters and paid visits to politicians. With new storytelling weapons in hand, they tried to attack the world's problems head on. Then they got on the subway on the wrong side of the street. With a bag of equipment attached to every limb. At rush hour. With a New York City News Service press pass tangled around their neck. So you can imagine that they often found themselves retreating to base 219, licking their wounds, and filing away yet another lesson learned. Second semester. Boot camp was over, but then the unrelenting polar vortex of a New York winter descended. They soldiered on. But they didn't have to do it alone now. They bound themselves together into concentrations by subject, squadrons, health and science, urban, business and economics, international, and some arts and culture. They learned from their battle-hardened professors to survive on nut graphs, raw sound, and blended video. IT staff kept them online, and the security guards kept lookout. Student services counseled them through rough patches, and career services patched up their resumes. I'm trying to find them. I don't know where they are. The equipment marshals. The equipment marshals drilled them to coil every cable into perfectly rounded circles. At every setback, this merry band of journalism comrades helped each other, gathering together in the underground hostel bar to commiserate, returning to the newsroom the next day renewed. They all cursed the common enemy, deadline, and prayed for more of its elusive nemesis, sleep. They learned to charm editors and stave off flaks. They studied New York's big businesses and massive bureaucracies, tunneling through weak spots with emails, phone calls, and freedom of information requests. The tide began to turn. Articles appeared in magazines such as The Atlantic and Wired. Voices broadcast on WNYC and WHYY, and video packages played on CUNY TV and streamed on the NewYorkTimes.com. During the summer, these journalism ninjas were sent off on internships across the country and the globe, where they impressed their editors with how deftly they captured stories. They were winning and hashtagging every victory. Hashtag making money now. Hashtag we got this. Hashtag journalism ninja. Then the dreaded capstone reared its gargantuan head in the fall, just when they thought the worst had passed. The state of their personal hygiene steadily declined during this long and final battle. So they sewed themselves special psychological armor out of long Facebook threads, some very confessional. Then, with a last gasp of energy and one final stroke of red pen, they slayed that capstone beast, or at least have him pinned and squirming on the floor. And that brings us to where we are today. Today is the final stage in our quest for most of us. Some of us couldn't get enough, and we'll be back for another semester. Good luck to you. That wasn't in the script. I should have stayed with it. Today is the day that we collect the reward we've been fighting so long and hard for, when we throw our caps in the air and then start applying for jobs. You thought the victories in J school were fleeting. So, as we make this transition, it's time to ask ourselves anew. Why did we make this journey? And what have we learned along the way? Here are some of the battle cries I will take with me. And I quote, so you can try and guess which professor said it. Get the dog's name. Cut it down. Seeing your name in print never stops feeling good. You've got to cut it down. Don't forget to shoot tight close-ups. For God's sake, cut it down. And last but not least, if you didn't RSVP, you don't get any pizza. 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 Whenever I have a slice of pizza in the future, I'm always going to think of the CUNY J school. Why did they feed us so much pizza? Maybe it was like a little bit of reverse psychology, you know, like pizza is something you scarf down quickly, but sometimes regret a little later. But the J school, in contrast, sometimes doesn't go down so easy, but, you know, will nourish us continually. Maybe it was a little bit of subconscious symbolism. Like they were, you know, if we stuffed it in our mouths, if we get close enough to our brain, we would recognize that the crust is the base of the story, and the sauce is like the reporting with the facts and observations and quotes all blended together, and the cheese and the toppings are like the rich details, which, make it come alive and make it tasty. Yeah. I tried on that one, try. Or maybe, where's my beard? Or maybe they actually just meant that journalism is exactly like pizza. When it's good, it's really good. But when it's 2 days old, still pretty good. Thank you.